All right, happy Sunday. I'm Meteorologist Brant Beckman. We're going to be talking about some of the potential impacts of severe weather coming to the Lowcountry this coming Monday. We also have the potential for today. We're going to talk a little bit about that, but this is a live look at downtown Somerville. We'll give people just a few minutes to join up here, and then we're going to go ahead and hit the road with this and get to talking about it because a lot of the 24-hour models are now in play here, and we're seeing a pretty good indication that widespread severe weather, not just for the Lowcountry, but South Carolina all the way up through Maryland. Large sections of the East Coast are going to be seeing impacts out of this system. We have a moderate risk that's been issued for portions of South Carolina. That hasn't happened for several years. You only get a couple of those for the state of South Carolina per decade. So we're seeing some interesting indications from the Storm Prediction Center and the forecast coming out of there. Today, you can see that the clouds kind of hanging on this morning. We're likely going to be seeing some isolated showers and thunderstorms. They're rumbling offshore, but we may not see those for quite some time. Let's go ahead and bring the radar up here so we can talk about that. So we got a big cluster of showers and thunderstorms just offshore. You can see lots of lightning with that. Most of that's staying out there. We're likely going to be seeing that hang out there. It's kind of on a boundary that's going to be hanging out for the time being. But first off, I wanted to thank everyone who has joined up and let us know where you're watching from and what questions you have. If you got plans tomorrow, we're going to go ahead and time this out piece by piece. And as you put in your questions, I'll do my best to try and answer those questions as they come through. Deeg, thank you so much for joining. Ryan says, I have questions. We're going to answer most of them here. What exactly are we getting? I'm in Goose Creek. I've seen different views. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff online. We're going to cut through all that. We're going to cut through all that and talk about the basics of what we know with this system. So let's start. Let's go ahead and start with what we got going on for today. Now, temperatures out there, we're on the warmer side. We're going to likely see those 70s continue into this afternoon. Lots of low to mid 70s. The winds, notice that we have that mixture of winds just offshore. That's what's fueling a lot of those thunderstorms out there. We've had gusts in downtown Charleston, 25 to 30 miles per hour. The atmosphere is charged right now, but it's going to be a lot more as we get into early tomorrow morning. The severe weather outlook for today, we have a 1 out of 5 risk for today. So if you're confused, is it today? Is it tomorrow? You know, a lot of it's going to be tomorrow. Dory Hanahan, thank you so much for joining us. Is there a certain time it's supposed to pick up on Monday? Should we be concerned about tornadoes? Ashley, Mercedes, these are good questions. Let's go ahead and start with today. Isolated threats of lightning, some gusty winds. I think that's all we're talking about today. So if you got plans today, listen, we're going to see a few isolated thunderstorms, but nothing that should cancel your plans over, right? Whatever you got to do today, you can get it done. Just bring the umbrella. Just be ready for the potential for some strong severe weather. Tomorrow, it picks up. Storm Prediction Center has an enhanced 3 out of 5 risk for strong to severe weather across the Lowcountry. Now, that's going to be Charleston, Mount Pleasant, Murrells Inlet, Estes. I mean, there's nowhere you can go here in South Carolina along the Lowcountry where you're not in an enhanced risk. That's a 3 out of 5. That's pretty significant. From the Storm Prediction Center. There's that moderate risk. You can see that just a little bit up to the north there, kind of putting up towards 95 as you're going up towards the Florence area. Starting from Florence, going up to North Carolina, that is a significant chance of some downright strong storms that they may be looking at tomorrow. So we don't have the biggest bear here in our neighborhood, but it's going to be crossing through our neighbor's front yard. So we're going to have to pay attention tomorrow. As storms that we get are going to pack a punch as well. Listen, Storm Team 2 Weather app, it's a great way to stay on top of what we got going on. We're going to be posting videos on the app. Any updates to severe weather, it's going to go straight to that app. Those are meteorologists, Rob Fowler, Kobe Nabrid, Jeff Kristoff. We're putting our information, our forecast right on that app. So it's not just computer generated. It's human beings that live and work in the Lowcountry that have a vested interest in making sure you get the correct forecast. All right. Live and work in your communities. All right, so let's go ahead and talk about the severe weather outlook for tomorrow because this is the bigger picture. We have moderate risk up through North Carolina. Moderate risk does not involve the Lowcountry. And a lot of folks will say, hey, listen, That's great. That means we don't have to worry about this, right? Because the worst of it's going to be north of us. This is going to be a widespread event. You're going to have storm reports from southern Georgia all the way up through Maryland and Virginia, probably up all the way to New York City. We're going to get some high wind reports out of this. I think that's the biggest thing we're going to be looking at when it comes to this. Here's the large hail threat. So I want you to notice on the scale here at 15%. So we'll call it a 2 out of 5, just to keep it simple. So that means that we're looking at a low to maybe moderate large hail threat. We're talking hail an inch or larger, so about quarter-size hail or larger being possible with some of these thunderstorms. I think the hail is the lowest threat, if you want to call it that, the least thing that we're focusing on. Although it will be threat, we're not really going to be focusing on the hail threat. This is our high wind threat for tomorrow. See that purple? See that 60%? The last time a 60% has been issued, not in South Carolina, but in the country, it's been since 2012. That is a long time. So Storm Protection Center is confident that straight line wind threat, high wind threat, is going to be persistent. It is going to be long lasting, and it's going to be sticking with most of those storms that pop up in that area. Now, Lowcountry, Charleston, Myrtle, Charleston, Georgetown, getting into Carleton County, you notice we're kind of in the red and the purple. That puts us 3 out of 5, 4 out of 5 for that risk. That's an extremely high risk. Even though we're not in the highest risk, we're going to see some wind damage out of some of these thunderstorms. Someone in the low country is going to be getting that wind damage. We need to be prepared for that. Wind gusts 60, 70 mile per hour straight line winds. This is not something, it may or may not happen. There's going to be folks in the low country that experience this. There's the atmosphere is going to be primed for this. We're going to be looking at shear that is extremely volatile as you get up north. These are not going to be big, booming thunderstorms. The Cape values aren't all that high. We're not looking at 3,000, 4,000 Cape values, and that's basically the gasoline in the atmosphere. How much fuel is there? We're looking at about 1,500 maybe in the highest portions of our area. But there is so much whip to the atmosphere. There's so much shear, high-level winds, that even small thunderstorms are going to be capable of bringing down those higher winds. So we're going to have to keep an eye on those. Yes, this is the tornado threat for tomorrow. It's looking on the higher side, especially for the Midlands. All right, so isolated tornadoes are a possibility for Monday. Timeline right now, anytime after sunrise through about 3 p.m. is our timeline right now. This is not going to be a Monday evening event. This is going to be a Monday morning through midday event for the low country. That's what Vipercast is showing right now. So overall theme here, this is what we're looking at. The highest threat. You got high-profile vehicles. Kristen, that's a great question. You got high-profile vehicles. That's something we're watching out for tomorrow. So even outside of the thunderstorms, you're going to have higher winds. There are going to be gusty winds as the energy moves through. So high threat for straight-line winds tomorrow. That's the biggest thing we're talking about. Isolated tornadoes. That's a medium risk there. Some of those isolated tornadoes could be long-tracked, meaning they stay on the ground or they go up in a thunderstorm, they come back down, and they're not these tornadoes that last for 30 seconds or a minute and then go back up in the cloud and they're done. We may have long-track situations, particularly in the Midlands. Could that move into the low country as well? It's on the table, but I think the better ingredients are north of us, so hopefully we can keep those ingredients north of us going to the forecast tomorrow. But we have to put that threat in there. That is something we're going to be talking about. Okay, let's go ahead and bring the Vipercast in. This is going into this evening, Sunday, 6 p.m. A few isolated thunderstorms. Not a lot, but enough to keep our head on our swivels going into this evening. So that's about 6 p.m. There's about 8 o'clock. Those thunderstorms still sticking around. Watch as we get into 4 a.m. Maybe a little bit of a break, right? Little bit of a break. I'm going to manually take this and push it forward so I can kind of manipulate it. So we had that first round go through. This is 5 o'clock in the morning, 6 o'clock in the morning. You're already seeing these little thunderstorms pop up. Now, normally this wouldn't be that much of an issue. We are used to severe weather in the low country. This is nothing new. We get it every year. We are used to that roller coaster. This roller coaster is likely going to be taller and faster than what you're used to. There's a lot of whip to the atmosphere, a lot of get-go. And those small thunderstorms could drop some high wind threats. Early in the morning, we're talking by sunrise, some of those thunderstorms could have high wind threats. This is 8 a.m., seeing some of those larger cells popping off just offshore and rumbling through the low country. So these cells, as we go towards 9 a.m., ahead of the line, these could prompt severe thunderstorm warnings, meaning at least 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts, quarter-size hail. You move this forward. Let's go into about 11 a.m. Look how it just continues. And then you have the line off to the northwest. This is the main threat for tomorrow, this line. But it looks broken, doesn't look all that organized, right? You're not seeing a lot of reds and purples in there. You're thinking that's not that bad. But the high winds exist in the upper part of the atmosphere. All the thunderstorm has to do is bring down those winds from the upper part of the atmosphere. You get a heavy downpour, it's going to bring down those heavy winds. And then you have the potential for rotating thunderstorms as well, which will keep that engine alive longer, give the thunderstorm time to develop and to mature. A lot of times you'll get thunderstorms here. We don't have upper level support, so the thunderstorm goes up and then collapses in on itself, and then it's done. So it's done in about 30 minutes. These will not be these thunderstorms. We have the potential for long-tracked cells, long-tracked supercells, in fact. A lot of stuff you see out in the Great Plains, we're going to see up in the Midlands and into the central portions of North Carolina. Low country, I think we'll have a few strong-topped thunderstorms come through. That's going to have some potential, and we'll have to watch it. Let's move this forward. You get to about noon, all those cells, every single one of those you see, have the potential for high winds. You get to about noon Monday, it's really starting to pick up at this point. This line, just to the west here, I know it's hard to see, but this line out here towards St. George and to the west, that's one of the main ones we'll be watching. Because once that front pushes through, you got dry air behind it, it's going to kill the thunderstorm potential. Once we get that cold front passed, we'll be in much better territory. And that's going to be sometime in the late afternoon, early evening, Monday. Vipercast right now showing that line coming through. This is when we're going to be at our peak potential for severe weather. Peak heating, about 1 o'clock. You're going to get some heating going on, some breaks in the clouds here or there. These thunderstorms, like these thunderstorms out towards, this particular run shows it out in Colleton County. This could easily be up in Berkeley County. Use your imagination. It can pop around a little bit, but the big thing is showing these thunderstorms are going to have potential 1, 2, 3 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. These cells will be rotating. Some of them will have tornadic potential. Every cell that rotates does not mean tornadic potential. But most storms that are rotating, you're going to want to keep an eye on as a meteorologist. And we're going to have a lot of those tomorrow. It's just the energy is going to be there. So let's push this forward even more. Let's go to 2 o'clock. And you notice the line's coming through, still going to be a dangerous line. Now you get to about 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock. That main line has now passed. You got some residual showers and thunderstorms off to the west. Those are not going to have the bite that first couple lines have. Once you get to about 4, 5, 6 o'clock, this is pretty much ending. You get to 6, 7, 8 o'clock, it's out. Cold air moves in. We're talking lows in the low to mid-30s by Monday night. It's going to be a big transition. It's going to be a wild weather day across the Carolinas. We're going to start the day potentially in the upper 70s, even a few lower 80s I can't rule out. And then we'll be in the 30s by the evening. So that's what we're looking at. So anywhere in the low country, if you're in Andrews, if you're in Georgetown, if you're in Charleston, if you're in Walterboro, St. George, Edisto, Johns Island, Moncks Corner, King Street, you are paying attention to this from sunrise until about, I'd say, just to play it safe, 6 p.m. Monday evening. Once you get beyond that, it's moved out, clearing skies, high thin clouds maybe, and cold conditions is what we're looking at. So here's what we have as far as the 5-day is concerned. So, weather alert for Monday for the shower and thunderstorm threat. We're going to likely see that start by about 6 a.m. Listen, if you got a small town you want a forecast for, I'll do my best to kind of get that. Sherry, where would you like specifically to talk about? Still. Well, we could do it by county names as well. Look, if you're in Moncks Corner, you're not going to get something much different than Walterboro, if I'm being honest. This is a large-scale system. If you are in the Lowcountry, if you live from Walterboro to Kingstree to Andrews to Georgetown to Murrells Inlet to Edisto, most of us are going to be seeing the same potential for severe weather tomorrow. I'll just pull up this map. Now, if you can find where you live on this map, Somerville, Dorchester, you are right here. You're right in the middle of the enhanced risk. So if you're in South Carolina, if you're in the low country of South Carolina, period, you are in line for this weather tomorrow. Period, end of story. Quickly, I wanted to point out severe thunderstorm watch versus warning. If you get a watch, that means the ingredients are there, but they haven't come together yet. And a watch can last for 9 to 10 hours. It's not a warning, it's a watch. It's the ingredients are there. A warning means that the ingredients have come together and a severe thunderstorm is imminent. To trigger that, you need at least 58 mile per hour wind gusts or hail 1 inch in diameter or larger. A tornado does not trigger a severe thunderstorm warning. So if you get a severe thunderstorm warning, that does not mean that a tornado is present. A tornado warning indicates that there is rotation, and the National Weather Service says, hey, that has the potential to produce a tornado, or a tornado is already on the ground. One of those two. You can get radar indicated rotation that triggers a tornado warning. But a severe thunderstorm warning does not indicate that there's rotation, doesn't indicate that there's a tornado. It's just hail and wind threat, either or, that triggers those severe thunderstorm warnings. How about Dorchester? All right, let's go ahead and talk about that. We'll get a little bit closer to this. All right, so we had questions about Somerville, Dorchester County. You're right in this as we get towards tomorrow. Anytime, if you're in Dorchester County, anytime after 6 a.m. is fair game for these strong thunderstorms to start rumbling through. I think your peak is going to be between about 10 a.m. and 3 p.m. And then by 4, 5, 6 o'clock, you're winding down. And these thunderstorms aren't going to be wasting any time. They're going to be moving through pretty quickly. Let's see. Hanahan, Jody, thank you so much for joining us. How will the drive from Charleston to West Columbia be in the morning and then back to Charleston around 4 to 5? Courtney, it may be a little rough, not going to lie. I'm not here to tell you to change your plans or whatnot. I'm here to empower you with information, and then you make your choices based upon that information. What I'll tell you is that there's going to be a high wind threat from 6 a.m. till 3 p.m., and that's all the way from Columbia down to Charleston. In fact, this goes up through the state. Let's go ahead and get a statewide look here via travel plans. All right, Columbia, you're in the enhanced risk. Anywhere in the orange is enhanced risk. It's a 3 out of 5 risk for this severe weather. Just to drive home the point, hail threat. 2 out of 5 hail threat from Greenville all the way down to Charleston. Basically, the entire state of South Carolina tomorrow will have the threat for some sort of hail. Same, the wind threat, maybe not as much down towards Beaufort, Charleston, Edisto, but we're talking the difference between very, very high and just high. So I want you to look at this map and say, hey, okay, Florence, Midlands going up through North Carolina, yes, they have a good potential for strong high winds. The best potential, in fact. But we could have the highest wind gusts recorded of the day, Orangeburg. or anywhere somewhere towards the southern portion of the line. Mother Nature does not follow along on our nice little nicely drawn maps. This is the best information available based upon where we believe the atmospheric conditions will be sitting when these thunderstorms roll through. And you have to think about it like this, that a lot of times the atmosphere is set up ahead of time and the front comes through and takes advantage of those conditions. So we're trying to figure out exactly where those conditions are setting up. But so far, there is high confidence that anywhere between Orangeburg, really from southern Georgia up through Virginia is going to be ready for severe weather threat in the form of high winds. Yes, this is all tomorrow, indicating right here where I'm circling my mouse, this is all for tomorrow. Let me show you today, just in case anyone's confused. I apologize if that wasn't made clear. Today's threat is a 1 out of 5. Yes, we could have a few thunderstorms with a little bit of a bite to it, but we're not overly concerned with today's threat. Now, you go out west, different story. They're getting some severe weather out towards Mississippi, Tennessee River Valley, Mississippi River Valley. They could see some strong storms today. That threat's pushing our direction. Day 2, this is tomorrow. This is Monday, starting about 6 a.m. And what threat specifically are we looking at? Here we go. Let's do this. I think this gives a much better idea. So here you go. Here's the threat from Savannah through basically Washington, D.C., and Baltimore. High wind threat is going to be prolific in those areas. And I don't use that word often. Prolific high wind threat, especially from the Florence area going up through middle North Carolina, up through Virginia. Charleston is in the conversation. Dorchester County, Williamsburg County, Berkeley County, Carleton County, Georgetown County, all in the conversation for this high wind threat as well. Maybe not as high of a percentage, but we're going to get an at bat. We're going to be in the running for it for tomorrow. See, so it's probably landing at 2 p.m. tomorrow. Will not be landing smoothly. Joe, that's a great question. We'll see if they want to continue. If things are clear at that point, they may try and land, but that may be a ride down for sure. I know some pilots want that opportunity. Some cowboys up there, but tomorrow will be a little bit bumpy. Is it safe to work tomorrow? Any updates on the bus schedule? Sam, I haven't heard anything from any of the school districts. I know Delilah James, we are keeping track of all of that. Have not heard of anything about school closings or work closings or road closures or anything like that. Severe weather is a little different. It's a kind of an of-the-moment thing. If they are planning on doing anything with the schools, whatnot, countdown2.com, News 2, we'll keep on top of that because we know how important that is. And as soon as that information comes out and we can confirm it, we're not going to follow any Facebook groups here. We're going to get official word. And if that comes through, then we'll put that information through. It's important that we distinguish that. Yeah, any high-profile vehicles tomorrow, regardless if you're in a thunderstorm, it's going to be windy tomorrow. Period, end of story. A lot of those winds coming up out of the south and southeast. So just keep that in mind. And those winds will switch out of the west. It'll be a windy start to Tuesday. And by the way, let's talk about that a little bit. Maybe you have St. Patrick's plan. If you have plans on St. Patrick's Day, maybe St. Patrick's Day parade, no rain, no storms in the forecast. You are good to go. But it's going to be cold, right? See that mark down there? That's 34 degrees. Monday night going into Tuesday, right? So it's going to be on the chilly side. We'll go from the mid to upper 70s down to the low to mid 30s. I think Walterboro and Kingstree may get down below the freezing mark. And then again Tuesday night. Now, you get to Thursday, we start seeing some improvements. I'll go and show you the 10-day here. First day of spring is Friday. We got those 70s going towards next week, low to mid 70s all the way through next week. So we're looking good as far as that is concerned. Sunshine with the tornado's head. The tornado threat is there. It is not zero. I don't think it's going to be widespread, but the best thing we can do at this point is just have a good game plan. We don't need to all hunker down the entire day and whatnot. Just have a way to receive warnings. Have a way to receive those warnings wherever you're going. And look, yes, I'm going to push our app. It's a good app. All right. And it's going to let you know you have your own radar you can use. It's free. The app is free. It's updated by meteorologists that live and work in the Lowcountry. We have a vested interest in making sure that you guys get the best forecast available for the Lowcountry. And you can take this wherever you want. Wherever you go, you can take it with you. This is a great way to get warnings as soon as they happen for your area. So if you are standing in Dorchester County, if you're standing in middle of Berkeley County on Bob's Road, and you have a severe thunderstorm warning for your location, this app will let you know for your location. So it's pretty good. So you have a way to receive warnings, and you have a plan of action if that warning comes through. Know what you're going to do. If you're planning on being outdoors, all right, that's fine. Just know that you're going to need to find shelter from this. All right, a lot of people talk about tornado threat. You know, the tornado is the thing in our imagination that we run away with. But high wind. Ask someone who's had straight line wind damage to their property. Ask someone who's been through real straight line winds, 60, 70, 80 mile per hour straight line winds. Those can do some serious damage, and they can be life-threatening if not taken seriously. And we're going to see a lot of that tomorrow, straight line wind threat. All right, thunderstorm comes over, looks like just a regular thunderstorm, but within that rain shaft, you have high winds being brought to the surface. So even regular thunderstorms can bring down those higher wind gusts from the upper part of the atmosphere. We need to be vigilant to that. So if you get a severe thunderstorm warning, take it seriously. Take tomorrow seriously with that. You should every time. I know you should take a severe thunderstorm warning seriously every time, but I'm telling you, tomorrow is the day to not mess around with it. Really not mess around with it. Atmosphere is going to be charged. It is going to have the ingredients necessary to ruin someone's day if they're not prepared or if they don't take it seriously. Moderate risk, you do not see that very often out here. The Storm Prediction Center has 28 scientists that you will not find anywhere else on planet Earth. They know what they're talking about, all right? Smart guys up there, smart men and women up there. They know what they're talking about. Hail threat, again, not going to be all of that big, but maybe you want to put the car in the garage as a precaution. Yeah, you haven't cleaned up the garage yet. Make some room just to play it safe. And the wind threat. There it is. That purple, again, that 60%. Last time that was issued by the Storm Prediction Center anywhere in the United States was in 2012. It's been a long time since we've seen high wind threat potential this high. So we are going to have some wind reports, probably hundreds of them, by the time we get to 3, 4, 5 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. And you notice Lowcountry, Berkeley County, Dorchester County, Carleton County, all of Williamsburg County, all of Georgetown County. Farther north you go, the more likely you are to see these higher winds. So the storms are going to be all over the place as we get towards tomorrow afternoon. Let's go ahead and do a radar check here, just real quick. So I want to show you that we have some thunderstorms today. We're not talking about these storms today. These storms, most of them will be below severe limits. We could have a few pop this afternoon that are on the stronger side. Look at this complex just offshore. I want to show you because that is a lot of the energy that we have already in place. And this is before the front is even here. That's a lot of lightning. So we have energy in the atmosphere. the fish. That's a big fish storm out there, but it's a sign of kind of the energy that we're looking at today. Jody, thank you. Sheena, Pennsylvania. If you're talking about Pennsylvania, we're talking way up north. Look, I'll go ahead and bring up a regional map. Maybe you're traveling from the Lowcountry, planning on going somewhere else. So let's bring up that map. I think that's important enough to do that. Go ahead and talk about the regional map here, because I know we got a lot of folks that may be trying to get out of town. All right. If you're planning on traveling anywhere along the East Coast tomorrow, we're talking from Jacksonville, Florida, all the way up to Philadelphia and Binghamton, New York, you're going to have the threat for high winds tomorrow. That's a large moderate risk. You don't see, usually moderate risks are about, I'd say, a third that size, maybe even a fourth that size. Enhanced risk all the way from southeastern Georgia through Pennsylvania. And guess what? Slight risk, that 2 out of 5 risk. I've seen a lot of big, booming thunderstorm days out of slight risks. And we're in the enhanced and the moderate. So tomorrow's a day to kind of watch that. Charleston Airport tonight, tomorrow. I think tonight, Charleston Airport should be okay. Maybe a few rumbles here or there. You might get a quick delay. The thunderstorm moves directly over the airport. It'll be a little bit bumpy, but just make sure to check with your airlines. And that'll be your biggest help. Just check in with them, because even though things might be good in Charleston, maybe things are a little bit bumpy out west. In fact, let's do this. Look at U.S. radar. Let's see what this system is doing out west. Now, we have severe risk for the south for today. And you notice, there it is. So high threat today, from all the way from Louisiana up through Indiana. This is for today. This is today's threat. And you notice that it's widespread. It is widespread. And we have green as well. Notice we have the green here in South Carolina and Charleston. But the main threat right now is from Indianapolis all the way down to northern Louisiana. And whatever the system does today will be kind of a precursor to what we may see tomorrow, because usually these systems have personalities. And if they overachieve today, then they'll likely overachieve tomorrow as well. That's just been my personal experience as a meteorologist, that these systems have personalities that they carry with them as they travel east. And so I'll be watching the trends on this very, very carefully. Tonight's going to be okay. April, I'll tell you what. I used to be terrified of thunderstorms as a kid. And what I did is I decided that I was not going to be terrified anymore, and I was going to learn about them. And that was when I was 6 years old. And that could be advice for someone who's an adult. It's just have a way to stay informed. Have a game plan. Have a game plan for when you are in a situation. A severe thunderstorm warning, maybe a tornado warning pops up. There are so many things that we know about how we can better prepare for these events. We're still in the infancy. Even in this day and age, we're in the infancy of meteorology, of figuring out where and when. But knowing what to do when these things happen, and it's going to be inevitable in life. Storms like this do come around. It's to make sure that you have a game plan when these storms show up. So, for instance, tomorrow, if you see that there's a severe thunderstorm watch, and you say, hey, that's me, that's my county, I'm under a severe thunderstorm watch, those usually last about 8-9 hours. Sometimes it can last longer, sometimes less. And what that just says is that the atmosphere is primed. It has the ingredients necessary. You got the eggs, you got the butter. It's all out on the table, but nothing's in the oven yet. Severe thunderstorm warning means those ingredients have come together, something is happening. And that warning is issued when you have 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts, quarter-size hail, either or. If you run into a situation where you find yourself in one of these severe thunderstorm warnings, find the most interior place in your home. You don't have to have a basement, although that is preferable. Find the most interior place in your home, putting as many walls between you and the outside as possible. That could be a closet, that could be a bathroom. If you have kids, you don't have to tell them what it's for, although it would be better if you did, because kids know. Kids are smarter than you think. Just let them know, hey, listen, this is what we're going to do if this happens. The bathtub, great place to be. That's a great option if you are in this kind of situation where you have a very, very strong severe thunderstorm warning or potentially a tornado warning. Bathtub, blankets, football helmet, anything to protect you from flying debris. People worry about the winds too much. It's what's in the wind. It's the stuff flying around, tree bark, whatever. Putting as many walls between you and the outside is going to be the best bet. If you have a basement, even better. If you live in a manufactured home, there's nothing wrong with manufactured homes. 363 days out of the year, they are perfect and great. It's days like tomorrow with these high wind threats where they can pose a little bit of a challenge. And we have a high wind threat tomorrow. So perhaps finding a friend, a neighbor, a loved one, saying, hey, could I come out and hang out with you on Monday? Or maybe you're at work, and most workplaces have a severe weather plan. Ask them for that plan. Managers should know. Hey, we do have a plan. It's right here. This is what we do. Right? And if you're planning on going home, during this time period, you're like, oh, I'm not. Just have an app. Have a way to have a way to track that information. So the way you download, you go to Android. If you have Android, it's the App Store. Either way, Apple or Android, go to the App Store, type in Storm Team 2. It's in the App Store and Google Play. And you'll see the little Storm Team 2. You see that symbol right there, a little lightning bolt. And it's got everything you need for tomorrow. Everything you need. Any updates we have, it'll be posted on there. If there's a severe thunderstorm watch, it'll be posted on there. Severe thunderstorm warning. And hey, if you don't want all the notifications and stuff, there's ways you can turn it all off. So if it's buggy in the middle of the night, you can turn off those options. So it's not ringing your ear off the whole time. Because it'll tell you, if you want it to tell you, every time there's rain within 10 miles, it'll tell you. So you can set it up custom to what you want to do. Fly out tomorrow morning, 6:30 to Atlanta. Going to be bad around then. Nick, I think we're going to be dodging a few thunderstorms tomorrow, but just make sure to check with your airline. I know that feels like a cop-out answer, but we may be looking at a break in the action as we get towards tomorrow morning. Let's roll this forward here. So this is Sunday evening. We could have some pretty decent thunderstorms tonight. So notice up towards Williamsburg and Georgetown County could have some thunderstorms tonight. Now you get to Monday morning. This is about 6 a.m. So you notice the thunderstorm is starting to pop off again about 6 a.m. It's not all that widespread at this point. I think our biggest concern is going to be after about 9 a.m. Once you get to 9 a.m., all bets are off. I think these thunderstorms will start to really get going, especially as you get the heat of the day, about noon, 1 o'clock. That's when we'll see more and more of this start to develop. By the way, I appreciate everyone joining up and asking your questions. If I've missed something, I apologize. Wayne's asking about the city of Georgetown. Georgetown, you're going to be looking at a high wind threat, isolated tornado threat. If you live anywhere, should answer that question, whether you're from Georgetown, Nesto. If you live anywhere in the South Carolina Lowcountry, and if you don't know if you live in the Lowcountry, ask your dad. ask a friend. Am I in the Lowcountry? If you are in the South Carolina Lowcountry, you have a threat for high winds and isolated tornadoes tomorrow, period. period. And the difference between King Street and Edisto, as far as storm threats are concerned, are almost equal. Maybe a little bit less for the coastline. Maybe a little bit less, but not much. I hope that answers that question. It is going to be widespread. A lot of times we can say, hey, oh, it's going to be more this way. It's going to be more out west. Or, okay, Williamsburg County getting a little bit more, not as much Edisto. This is going to be a large-scale event. This is, in some ways, an event that hasn't been forecasted like this in a long time, especially for the state of South Carolina with that moderate risk. It's been several years. You only get a couple moderate risks or a couple 4 out of 5 risks a decade for the state of South Carolina. So worth paying attention to tomorrow. Ondo, all right. Jesse, you're welcome. This is our job. This is our job. It's what we're supposed to do. So I appreciate the sentiment, but that's what we do. And we're going to keep doing this. We're going to keep updating you tonight and going into tomorrow morning. I'm planning on being here 4 a.m. tomorrow morning. Jed Christoph's going to be in the building. Kobe Nabrid, Rob Fowler. We are going to be all hands on deck for tomorrow. It's too important. It's too important. So Ondo, let's talk about that. So maybe you're going a little bit up the coast here, northern Charleston County. We're looking at the same impacts here, and I'll point it out here. If you live in Charleston County, Dorchester County, Georgetown County, Williamsburg County, Carleton County, Berkeley County. I say that twice, Berkeley County. Say, wait a second, that's all of us. That's right. Everyone has these threats tomorrow, top to bottom, left to right. High wind threats, 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts possible, talking 70, perhaps even 80. Medium threats, so isolated tornado threat. We could have several isolated tornadoes. We're not necessarily looking at widespread tornadoes here. I think the high wind threat's the biggest thing. But we could have a few thunderstorms at the same time with tornadic potential. A few of those could have long-track tornadoes. And that's something that we don't say often. We reserve that for times where that's actually true, right? And the thing is, you're gonna hear social media say that every week. Oh, the storm of the century is coming, And sometimes it's hard to compete with that. When you're trying to stick with genuine information and you're bringing a conservative forecast. This is a conservative forecast for tomorrow. There's going to be widespread severe weather. Most of it's going to be high wind threat. Some of it's going to likely be some isolated tornadoes. Some of it's even going to be a flood threat. We're going to get some heavy downpours out of these thunderstorms. So flood threat, I don't think it's low to medium. I almost put low just because the other two are so much more high on the list of things that we are watching and thinking about. So if we are talking about timing here, it's changed since even this morning. Let me bring up one of these models here, because I know we have a HER model, which is short range. We have a couple different renditions of what could be happening here. So let me see if I can bring that up. All right, so this is short range model. This is the HER, HRRR. And it shows some thunderstorms trying to move their way through. This is about 8 a.m., 9 a.m. Monday. It already shows some pretty good supercells trying to pop up by 9 a.m. tomorrow. Watch as we go into 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock. And this is in congruence. This is in line with a lot of what Vipercast is saying. So that thunderstorm line comes, this is 4 o'clock. That's that line coming through. So this model differs from Vipercast. This one is saying, hey, there's not going to be a lot of thunderstorms earlier in the day. It's all going to be in one big line, 3, 4, 5 o'clock. So it has the front coming in later in the day, but still being done by about 7, 8, 9. So all the models are basically saying right now by 7, 8, 9 o'clock tomorrow evening, this is going to be done. We're going to be done with this. We're going to have cold, windy conditions, but dry conditions. Monday night going into Tuesday morning. You got St. Patrick's Day plans. Those are on. You're good to go. A little breezy, a little cold. 30s to start the day. Highs in the low 50s for Tuesday morning. So that's a powerful cold front we're talking about. Yeah, that's what the HRRR is showing. And I tend to agree with it in some respects. I think it may be maybe overdoing the line a little bit. At 4 o'clock, I think it comes through maybe a little bit earlier than that. But that's why we're constantly checking. I'm telling you right now, and this is going to annoy a lot of people, I reserve the right to change my forecast when presented with new information. I have to be able to do that. Otherwise, you get meteorologists, or you got online personalities that know this is going to happen, and they're afraid to change their mind because, well, they don't want to be wrong at any point. Most forecast models don't have a good grip on this right now. Even the short-range models. The timeline's a little wonky, but the big picture stuff, how much energy is in the atmosphere, what's the jet stream doing, large-scale features, all those large-scale features are in place. It's going to be tough for that forecast to make a 180 at this point. I think we're locked in for severe weather. It's the timing of it and the localized impacts that could still change a little bit, but I think the overall theme is going to be the same. High wind threat, some isolated tornadoes. Anytime after sunrise, Monday, going into Monday afternoon. So it will not be a late night threat. That's the good news. So it's not happening in the middle of the night, which is a big struggle for meteorologists, is when we get these overnight systems with, night tornadoes and things like that. Thank goodness we're not dealing with that. This could be a daytime system. But Mississippi and Alabama, they are rampant with those night tornadoes. That's where I interned at. And that is a tough situation for those folks out there when they have to deal with that. So thank goodness we're not dealing with that. This could be a daytime system. We're going to have meteorologists on top of this. And of course, they'd be on top of that, even if it's overnight. But folks will be able to receive warnings. They're going to be alert. They're going to be awake. We're going to get storm reports, and that's going to help the National Weather Service move things along. And by the way, if you have any storm reports, please send them to us. Please send them to us, because we can send that information on to the National Weather Service, and you might actually be responsible for getting a warning issued. If you can show evidence that there's large hail, or you can show evidence that, hey, my tree in my front yard got knocked over, well, we can issue a warning. Maybe it's for Georgetown. And they get 45 minutes warning that, hey, 60 mile per hour, 70 mile per hour winds are heading your direction. We have confirmed report from John Doe out in Berkeley County. If you want to send it, this is a great way to do that. That gets it straight to our newsroom. And I mean straight to our newsroom. You give us the name, location, when it happened, and we'll share your content. We'll put it on the air. But I think most people just want to make sure that people are informed and keeping people safe. So if you put your camera up to that, bring it to a link, and then you can do that. Listen, stay connected with the Storm Team 2 weather app. We've talked about that, but that's basically what that radar looks like. You can zoom in, you can turn on and off, you can toggle the warnings. You can mess with the radar. And download it today and mess with it today. Look at the different features. If you have questions about it and you're like, I don't understand how this works, send us a message. I'd be happy to help. My name's Brant Beckman, right? anyone in our Storm Team 2 weather team will help you with that. If you're having some issues, I can't get the map off, We're here to help. We want you to stay informed. We stand behind our product, and we want to make sure it works. So if it doesn't, let us know. What about bridge shutdowns? I don't think so, David. That's a good question. It's a legitimate question. It's the same thing with like schools and stuff like that. I don't anticipate any bridge shutdowns. I don't think we're going to be talking about that. I think at worst, if we have let's say we have an area, a town, maybe a street that gets impacted with high winds, or God forbid, we have a small tornado that rolls through. Those streets and those roads may be shut down, and we strongly encourage that you avoid the area. Even if you want to go out and send pictures to us, safety is the number one thing with this. We want everyone to be safe. All right? Do not risk your safety for a cool video or for a cool picture. It's not worth it. It's not worth it. All right? You want to learn how to storm chase and go to meteorology school and do all that? That's fine. If you're in your front yard, watch a storm come in, okay. We're not going to tell you what to do. It's just not my recommendation that you do that. I'd rather you all be safe. You get a video or you get storm reports after the fact, that's very helpful. And yes, the sooner that it comes in, the better. But we want to emphasize safety more than anything. All right? We appreciate you, though. We're about food when the power... So if the power goes out, I think we may have some. But again, the good news is that this isn't like a winter storm. This isn't going to be entire counties that are, out of power with ice weighing down trees and all that. I don't think we're going to be talking about that. You may have localized areas that do get some tree damage. I think we're going to see snapped limbs out of some of these thunderstorms. You're going to see power outages. Hey, we're talking about preparation. Have your phones charged. Have your phones charged tomorrow. Have a flashlight. I don't think food preparation, I don't think is necessary. We're not talking about a blizzard here. It's a severe weather event. All right. You want to do a little preparation with that? That's okay. But I think more so having a way to communicate. And if you have friends, or how about this? If you have friends or family, they're living up in the Florence areas northeast of Columbia, send them a text. Go ahead and give them a call. Be like, hey, this meteorologist is yapping down here in Charleston about this severe weather threat tomorrow. They'll tell you, oh, okay, yeah, that's fine. But they're listening. The bug is in their ear. They'll pay attention more tomorrow. So that's what we're looking at for tomorrow. Right now, these are great questions. I appreciate everyone who has posted them. Jennifer from Monk's Corner, welcome. Sam, I'm sure your manager already knows. I think everyone pretty much is aware. If you haven't seen it on social media or seen us on TV talking about it, I think everyone's aware that we're talking about some bad weather tomorrow. Jennifer, Monk's Corner. So Monk's Corner, looking at the potential, just like everyone else in the Lowcountry, for that severe weather. High wind threat with a low to moderate tornado threat. So have your plans in place. That's what we can do. Have a plan in place if there's a tornado warning. Say to yourself, if there is a tornado warning right now, and I had 15 minutes to make decisions, what would those decisions be? What would I do? And, follow-up questions. Do I have pets? I have kids over. What am I going to do? Have a plan, right? The most interior portion of your house. If there's a tornado warning, most interior portion of your house. Put as many walls between you and the outside as possible. Many times, that's a hallway closet. Sometimes it's a bathroom. If you have a basement, even better. That's even better. The whole idea, a lot of people are worried about the wind. Oh, what if the wind, blow? It's the debris that's getting launched especially you live in wooded areas and whatnot. Actually, it doesn't matter. I shouldn't even say that. It doesn't matter where you live, right? The debris, anything that tornado picks up is being launched at over 100 miles an hour. So the debris is the big deal. That's what we are protecting ourselves from. About the Walterboro area. Quilly, thank you so much for joining. Enhanced risk. We are looking at, again, that large hail threat for Walterboro, and that also includes Monk's Corner. Monk's Corner, Walterboro, both seeing about the same hail threat. Quarter-size hail or larger being possible. The wind threat. Now, this is where it gets a little interesting. The wind threat's not as high towards the coast, but that's between like 60% and 80%. We still have, make no mistake, we have a high wind threat for Charleston, Beaufort, Hilton Head, Savannah. We have an extreme wind threat as you get up towards Orangeburg, Columbia, Williamsburg County. You get up to Florence and you're at the top of the scale. Whatever extreme plus, as you get up towards Florence and areas north of that towards North Carolina. Very, very important stuff. All right, so if you plan on traveling up that direction tomorrow, be very careful. If you can avoid travel till Tuesday, I would do that. Or if you can get it done today, that would be better. Monday is going to be a tough day to travel. So just keep that in mind, please. Yeah, Dorchester South. All right, Amy. Thank you for joining. So Dorchester, Berkeley, Colleton, Williamsburg, Georgetown, Charleston. All those counties are looking at the threat for severe weather tomorrow. How about Somerville? Somerville, you're looking at that severe weather threat tomorrow, anytime between 6 a.m. sunrise going, I'd say, through late afternoon. Early to late afternoon. So Monday morning by 6 a.m., we're going to have some thunderstorms likely popping up. Now, the good news, here's something I want to know. If you wake up tomorrow and it's 9 o'clock and it's 10 o'clock and it's 11 o'clock and there's cloud cover and there's no sunshine, that will dampen our severe weather threat. You've basically taken an ingredient out that's needed for this severe weather threat to work. So if we can keep the clouds there through about 10, 11 o'clock, that's going to be a big deal. That will lessen our impacts. Not eliminate them, it will lessen them. Now you get to 9, 10 o'clock, and the sky is starting to break, and you're getting that sunshine, game on. Game on. Those storms are coming. All right? What about Smoke, South Carolina? Mariah, we're looking at severe weather threat, high winds, isolated tornado potential. All right? So those two things. Yes, there's a hail threat and there's a flood threat, but I think the bigger deal is going to be that high wind threat. And I'd say the peak of this between 10 a.m. and 3 p.m., midday. So not even in the afternoon, but midday is when I expect things to, we may be looking at several severe thunderstorm warnings at the same time, maybe even a tornado warning popping every now and then. It's going to be busy. So make sure you have a way to receive warnings. Sabrina says, we own a child care we're thinking of closing. I, of course, can't tell you what to do one way or another. I can give you the information, and you take that information. I want to empower you with information, and you make a decision based upon that. What I will tell you is that a high wind threat and a low to medium, maybe isolated tornado threat for tomorrow, for Somerville. There's going to be widespread severe weather. So maybe even if it's not in Somerville, it'll be in the town next over. And obviously, not every single person in the low country is going to see the exact same thing. It's going to be different. That's the nature of weather. I don't have to say that. I think people just naturally know that. But I think we're going to have a large amount of us that see something. Wind damage threat is going to be exceptional tomorrow. And that's not necessarily, that's not a tornado map. That's just a map of straight line winds, which a lot of people discount. It doesn't sound as impressive, straight line winds. Everyone's listening for the tornado word, and then their ears perk up. But your ears should perk up for this. Straight line winds, anyone in this chat, anyone that's been through a straight line wind event can tell you that straight line winds can do some real damage. And that's what's being forecasted for tomorrow for large sections of South Carolina. This is a 60% hatched risk for high winds. This is the only time that we have seen a 60% issued by the Storm Prediction Center since 2012. So that's a big deal. That 45%, yeah, it's not record-breaking necessarily, but it's through large sections of the low country, and that is still a high risk for high winds and for straight line winds. Going to Charleston from Santee to get out of the camper for this weather. From Neely, that is right on. That is right on. That is exactly the kind of preparation that needs to be done. And you know what? There's a small chance that maybe that campground, because you took the precautions, that nothing happens to that campground. It's Murphy's Law. If you move, nothing will happen. If you stay, then all of a sudden something happens. I stole Delilah James's phone charger. She needs to grab that real quick. She needs to grab her stuff. No, you are good. So, Delilah, will you be in on Monday?
I'll be in on Tuesday.
You'll be in on Tuesday. Okay, we'll see you Tuesday. Be safe.
But I'll make sure to check in with the weather tomorrow.
Yes, yeah, I'll text you.
Okay, cool beans.
All right. Delilah James, our morning anchor and reporter. So we were on about 7 a.m. this morning, and we had another show at 9. And this is all the stuff we were talking about. If you want to get the full forecast on News 2 and WCBD Plus, Kobe Neighbor's going to be in. He's coming in actually pretty soon here. It's going to be all hands on deck with this. As we get towards tomorrow morning, Jed and I will be in. I'm going to be in probably 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. We're not messing around with this one. Now, Jed's normally in on that time, so that's nothing new for him. He's just on the ball with that kind of stuff. But, we're going to have a full staff with this by the time this storm system comes in. All of us are going to be on deck here. So, Storm Team 2, we're going to be prepared to deliver the information as it comes through. And we're going to be prepared to change the forecast at any time based upon new information. So the newest stuff, we're not going to sit here and give you a forecast, and then we're not going to be afraid to change it. A lot of folks will put out a forecast, and they're afraid to change it because they don't want to be wrong. I am telling you right now, I'm not afraid to be wrong. I am not afraid to be wrong. I am afraid of not adjusting when new information becomes available. So we are going to adjust based upon what the latest has for us, and that's why we're going to do constant updates. We're just going to keep this going. We're going to do constant updates as we get tonight into tomorrow and tomorrow morning and to midday tomorrow, and there'll be early morning updates and midday updates and afternoon updates, and we'll be going through that because it's that important. This is a volatile environment. You have a charged atmosphere with good amount of moisture. All right, it's not a high amount of moisture. If you guys have ever heard CAPE, convective available potential energy, CAPE. If you ever hear meteorologists talk about CAPE, number one, they shouldn't because it can confuse folks. But for those that are interested, it's the gasoline. It's the fuel for the thunderstorms. And we don't have an exceptionally high amount of CAPE here in the Lowcountry. Maybe about 1,500, maybe some areas around 2,000. But the big severe weather events that you see out in the Great Plains, that you can have 5,000, 6,000 CAPE with that. We're looking at about 1,000 to 1,500 CAPE. And those are relatively isolated thunderstorms and manageable thunderstorms on a normal day. But because the atmosphere is just whipping up into a frenzy, we're talking high winds in the upper part of the atmosphere, it's going to take even those medium-sized thunderstorms and rotate them. Then you have long-lived thunderstorms that have the ability to mature and track for a long time. And those updrafts sustain, and then you can get a maturing system. So that's why, even though we don't have all the cape necessary, all the fuel necessary, the shear is making up for that. Shear is basically the wind changing direction as you go up in the atmosphere. That's what literally causes a thunderstorm to rotate. And we're going to have a lot of that tomorrow. Amy says, driving from Dorchester to Orangeburg tomorrow, 6 a.m., up 178. Amy, I think you'll be okay. You may run into a few thunderstorms, all right, but I think the bigger potential is going to be later on in the morning. I think if you need to get somewhere tomorrow, getting to where you need to be by about 9, 10 o'clock is the best case scenario. Now, if you have to travel midday tomorrow, just have a way to receive warnings. Preferably if you're nearby a business or a sturdy structure, that's going to be your best bet. If you are outdoors, if you plan on working outdoors tomorrow, my only advice, you can take it, you can leave it. This is personal advice from a meteorologist that has seen a lot of these. If you're working outside, have a sturdy structure that's within 10 to 15 minutes that you can get to. Have a sturdy structure that you can get to within 10 to 15 minutes, that you get a warning and you can get to where you need to go. A lot of times, National Weather Service is very good at getting these warnings out about 30 minutes ahead of time before one of these, even longer than that, sometimes 30, 45 minutes before the severe thunderstorm arrives at a location. But just in case, one sneaks up on them, and it happens, just happens. Be within a sturdy shelter within 10 to 15 minutes. If you live in a manufactured home, or if you are in an RV, manufactured homes are great. RVs are great. 363 out of 365 days out of the year. There's nothing wrong with them. During these high wind events, they can be big problems. If you can go somewhere else for that day tomorrow, stay with a friend, stay with a family member, that may be a good option. If you are concerned about it, that's an option. Find someone who lives in a more sturdy structure. All right? It's not a guarantee that every manufactured home is going to be affected. It's a fact. Manufactured home, mobile homes get affected by these high wind events more than sturdily built homes. It's a fact. So, and we need to point it out. So if you're wondering, should I stay here? Why not? If you have the option and you have the time, not everyone has the time. Not everyone has the resources. But if you do, and if you wanted to take that precaution, tomorrow would warrant it. It's not an unreasonable thing to do. Right? Quick check and making sure. I'm in communication with Chief Meteorologist Rob Fowler and Kobe Neighborhood, Jed Christoph, and just making sure. Yeah, Allison, that's a great point. Look, not everyone has the option to avoid this. So shaming people for not, why aren't you in your shelter? Some people don't have a choice. Some people are risking it. They just have to be where they need to be. We're going to be here. We're going to be at work. So for those that have the options or want to take precautions and whatnot, it's out there, right? Hey, well, Allison, I'll say a parking garage, that's one of the better places to be. I'll tell you that. That's actually not a bad spot at all. Reinforced structure, oh yeah. I've been on more than a dozen hurricane chases. Let me tell you, the parking garages are one of the safer places. Yeah, thank you everyone for your questions. Yeah, that's a great question. So The high wind threat does not necessarily correlate to a tornado threat, right? The tornado threat's different. Here's your tornado threat. Notice how it's different than the high wind threat. Not by much, but we're at 10%, which is high enough. So we're talking about an isolated tornado threat. Isolated tornadoes, here or there. Some of those isolated tornadoes could be longer lived, could be what we consider long track. A lot of tornadoes, like we had one, we actually had a tornado recorded from the other day in Allendale County, in EF0. I think it took the roof off a barn and took down some trees. I believe that was Thursday of last week that we had that. So that would be an example of a short-lived tornado. It didn't go very far. We could be talking about a little bit longer track tornadoes tomorrow, right? Because we have shear. We have mature thunderstorms that are able to keep their updrafts going as they move along. Shear gives exhaust to the engine. You need an exhaust because the exhaust gets choked up in the process, then thunderstorms die. A lot of tropical, you ever been down to Florida, see those thunderstorms in the afternoon that bubble up and then they rain themselves out within 30 minutes and they're done? Well, it's because the rain is crushing the updraft. It competes with each other and the exhaust gets mixed in with the input and it just blows itself out. But these storms, when you have shear, you can get the downdraft or the rain to be separate from the updraft. You can separate it. So you have constant, now you have a machine. Self-sustaining machine there. And the environment has moisture. The environment has upper level support, right? Sam says, made my decision to stay at apartment and have emergency Coke and pizza. Hey, not a bad option. Sam, that's a good option. That is a good option. Again, thank you all for your questions. You're very, very good. And there's no such thing as bad question here, right? This is open forum. This is not for, these are not for expert meteorologists or whatever. This is you and I having a conversation about what's happening tomorrow. And any question is fair here. Even if it's already been answered, maybe you've just joined the live. That's totally fair. So if you have questions, just go ahead and put it in the comments section, and we'll do our best to get to it. We had a question about Smoke, South Carolina. Now, this is going to be south of Whetstone Crossroads and north of Bell Crossroads. This is on Highway 21. This is for people who don't know. All right, this is going to be northwest of Walterboro, so this is Carleton County. You are looking at pretty much the same timeline as everyone else. This line that comes through, it's going to move through fairly quickly. So if it's getting hit in Carleton County, Charleston may only be 30 minutes difference of timing with these thunderstorms. So to say that, hey, Carleton County is going to be 3 o'clock, Georgetown 6 p.m., it's not really going to be like that. Everyone's going to likely see a lot of the same stuff fairly soon within each other seeing it. Right, within a 30-minute, 1 hour timeline. It's not going to be much difference. Right? Quick check here. This is what we're looking at for tomorrow's severe weather potential. High risk for those strong winds, strong high wind gusts, 60-mile-per-hour winds. Medium threat, low, I'd say low to medium, but I'm going to go ahead and put medium just because kind of a 10% chance is pretty high for tornado. Isolated tornado risk. And a few of those isolated tornadoes popping up, not just one or two. Could have several isolated tornadoes. Isolated large hail. So that's going to be quarter-size hail. That's the definition of severe hail. Any hail over an inch in size and over a quarter in size. That'll put dents in your car. If it hits it right, it can, crack a window. So that's within the parameters here. Isolated isolated flood threat. It's been a little bit here on the stream. Going to go ahead and put that at medium. You have heavy rain here in the low country. Even if we're in a drought, you get heavy rain, it floods. Anyone who lives here knows that. So we're going to put that in there. I never usually have it as low here. It's the low country. It rains, it floods, especially downtown Charleston. It's just where we're built on that peninsula. Let's take a look at the Vipercast here, because I think we're getting some new model runs now. We certainly are. All right. So going towards this evening, it shows fairly low activity. And then as you get past 8 o'clock, this is new. This is a new model run. It's showing that we could have some very active weather late tonight, Sunday night. So this is past 8 o'clock. No, that's okay, Whitney. Appreciate you joining us. Whitney, right now, we're looking at some of those isolated thunderstorms popping up today, but I think as we get late tonight, we'll start to see a little bit more energy in the atmosphere. So anytime after 9, 10 o'clock tonight. Notice that's some big cells being indicated by Vipercast here. Notice up towards Kingstree, a little bit up that direction. You see my mouse there circling. So anything you see with those purples and kind of deep, dark purples, almost black color, gray color in there, that's going to be indicated heavy thunderstorms. That shows tonight at 10 o'clock. Now, whether that verifies or not, I still have some questions about that, but it's possible. I'm not discounting that. On a normal day, I'll say maybe it's being a little enthusiastic, but our ingredients are so good, it would be irresponsible for me to discount anything being shown as far as high wind threat or severe threat with these thunderstorms over the next 18 hours, 24 hours or so. All right, so 6 a.m. tomorrow is when kind of our next batch of isolated thunderstorms starts popping up. Maybe they won't be outright, top-tier severe storms, but some of them will probably pack a punch as you get later on in the morning. 6 a.m., 7 a.m., you get some of these isolated thunderstorms. Now you get to about 9 and 10 o'clock, and these thunderstorms are starting to get a little bit more organized. As you get the heat of the day, as you get the sun, you get some heating taking place, the burner's turned on. The water's going to start to boil, and the atmosphere is going to take advantage of it. So this is about 11 o'clock. Notice the shower and thunderstorm activity a little bit more widespread here. And you get to noon. If you're wondering where I'm talking about the entire low country. These thunderstorms are going to likely be traveling fast. These are not slow movers. They are not going to be wasting any time. They're going to be moving through. So if it's in Monk's Corner at 12:15, it could easily be in Georgetown by 12:45. Zoom. Just moving. You get to 2 o'clock Monday afternoon, you're still seeing those thunderstorms kind of hanging out. Now you push late Monday. I'd say you get to about 6 o'clock. Start getting some better territory here. By the time you get to midnight, we're done. We are clear of this. Good night, go to bed, you're good. In fact, I could almost safely say 9 o'clock Monday night, but just to play it really safe, late Monday, we're going to be good. That system's pushed offshore, the drier air has moved in, the colder air has moved in, so you've lost all the ingredients that these thunderstorms need, and you're looking at better conditions. Tuesday morning, St. Patrick's Day, it is cold. It is cold. Temperatures in those lower 50s. Don't believe me? Let me show you. I got it right here. Got my 5-day from earlier this morning. So for today, high temperature 77 degrees. We are already there. Many portions of our area may even see a low 80 mark, which means our temperatures are overachieving, which is not necessarily great. Severe thunderstorm potential could really start as early as late tonight, but I think most of it's going to be late morning Monday, going through midday. Then you go move forward here, rest of the 10-day. First day of spring, by the way. By the way, we're still in winter, for those of you that didn't know. First day of spring is this Friday, and I believe it starts at 10:03 a.m. in the morning, officially. Spring. 73 degrees, and then this weekend, how about some mid to upper 70s and no severe weather? Right? A little bit better. Whitney, thank you for the question. Yes, these are excellent questions. Yeah. If you want to check out the latest on what we have, I'm always uploading the videos on counton2.com, and that's where any alerts. By the way, if you didn't want to download the app, let me show you how you get the app. I'll show you right now. Storm Team 2 Weather app. It is an app that for meteorologists that live and work here in the Lowcountry put our forecasts. This is our personal journal. This is where we put our Lowcountry forecasts and our ideas into. We have our videos, we have our daily forecasts, and you can take it wherever you go. So if you are on Bob's Road out in Berkeley County, as long as you have reception, right? That's kind of the thing about that. If you're on Bob's Road in Berkeley County, it'll tell you that there's a severe thunderstorm moving towards your location. So, and we are constantly, it is a work in progress, and we are constantly working on it. And if you have suggestions for us on this app, we are listening. Tangela, thank you for joining. What do you think about schools for tomorrow? It's a great question. I've heard rumor mills about this and that. You want to go to the district website. If there is a newsletter or if there is a release that they send out to all parents and whatnot, that's the stuff you're going to want to follow. If you got a Facebook group that says, oh yeah, for sure this is happening, wait for official source. And if something is closing or something's not going to be open tomorrow, like a school district or whatnot, we are going to verify that as News 2 from an official source, and then we'll put out that information. But as of right now, I've not heard official word on any of those places. And it may already be out there. I've been doing weather for this morning, so I haven't seen the latest on the schools. But I know there are conversations being had about that. Storm Team 2 Weather app. If you go into Google Play or the App Store, you type in Storm Team 2. If you type in Storm Team 2 or, this is what the app looks like. Given the hourly data, it's got and I use this right now. There's my stuff. Storm Team 2, and you're gonna notice it's got the little lightning bolt on there and all that. And right now it's showing a freeze watch for Georgia and portions of South Carolina, and we have small craft advisory. And I literally click on it, just put my thumb over it and click on it, and it's giving me the information right there. 72 degrees, easterly winds 10 to 15 miles per hour, small craft advisory, southwesterly winds 20 to 30 knots, 6 to 9 foot seas expected. And that goes from midnight tonight to noon Tuesday. So I have all that information in the palm of my hands, and the app's free. So you could type in WCVD as well, and we also have WCVD Plus, we have the WCVD News app, and all that works in tandem with each other. But Storm Team 2 Weather app, it's a great way to stay up to date. That's where we put our blogs, put our information, put our hits from earlier in the day. All goes on there. So appreciate the question. So if we're planning the rest of the day today, all right, looking at those low to mid 70s, we're going to have some thunderstorms in the forecast. On and off, I think we could see a little bit more as we get later on into tonight. And more so. Oh, awesome. Good job. Good job, Sam. Thank you. CHS and Burke teachers work days. I've seen that, Jody. I appreciate you putting that in there. I haven't verified it yet, but we appreciate you putting that in. So that's today's planner. Again, for those of you maybe just joining, we're going to do a recap here. All right, quick look. Full forecast it starting right now. Somerville, downtown Somerville, you're seeing some of those clouds, puffy cumulus clouds, a little agitated this afternoon. Temperatures in those 70s out there. Notice the radar. We got a cluster of booming thunderstorms just offshore, about, I'd say 30, 40, 50 miles to the east of Georgetown, southeast of Georgetown there. They're going to stay out that direction, or if they do make it to shore, it's going to be up towards Wilmington. I think we're going to avoid most of that. But we do have some thunderstorms that are moving onshore and up towards Orangeburg. If we do get more thunderstorms, it could be later on tonight. So, severe weather awareness. Look, severe thunderstorm watch. We're going to have them tomorrow. We're going to have a lot of them likely. I think every county from Savannah potentially to Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, is going to have a severe thunderstorm watch at some point tomorrow. And all that means is that you have ingredients in the atmosphere that is likely going to lead to tornadic potential. Oh, excuse me. Been a long stream. That means you have a severe thunderstorm watch, which means you have ingredients potential for severe thunderstorms. Not necessarily a tornadic potential, although that could be something that happens. It doesn't guarantee that. Just that the ingredients are there for severe thunderstorms. Now, a severe thunderstorm warning, get my terminology right here. Severe thunderstorm warning means that the ingredients have come together. A severe thunderstorm is either happening or imminent in a given location. And a severe thunderstorm is going to be much, much smaller than a severe thunderstorm watch. A watch can span a whole state, but a warning generally spans maybe a county or two at most. The warnings are what you have to watch out for. Now, in order to get a warning, National Weather Service needs one of two criteria. If you have your Storm T2 weather app and it says severe thunderstorm warning has been issued for your location, it at the very least means that you have 58 mile per hour wind gusts or higher. Or you have hail 1 inch in diameter or larger. You can have either or. You can have a severe thunderstorm with hardly any wind at all, but with quarter-size hail. But tomorrow, I think more so the case, you're going to have a lot of severe thunderstorms with high winds, higher than 58 miles per hour. Could be 60, 70 mile per hour gusts. And hail maybe half an inch to 3/4 of an inch in most of those situations. So I think most of the severe thunderstorm warnings are going to be issued for the high winds. A severe thunderstorm warning does not mean a tornado has formed. Does not mean that. A tornado does not kick off a severe thunderstorm warning. You can have a severe thunderstorm with no rotation whatsoever. Not required. Does not mean that at all. So just keep that in mind. Does not indicate tornadic potential. However, tomorrow, stronger storms are going to need to be watched because a lot of these strong thunderstorms will be rotating into tomorrow midday. There's a lot of kick to the atmosphere. Meteorologists are going to be exhausted by the end of the day because we're going to have to watch every single one of these cells, each one of these thunderstorms that are spinning up. It's the way it is tomorrow. Tim, thank you so much. Tim coming in. Seeing a lot of questions about schools. Charleston, Berkeley, and DD2 will have teacher work days on Monday. For all others, no word, but everyone should check their district website. Tim for the win. Thank you, thank you. I'm going to like that comment. Thank you, thank you. Severe outlook for tomorrow. Baseline. Enhanced risk for the entire Midlands and low country of South Carolina. All of it. You're like, well, what if I'm in Moncks Corner? That includes you. If you're in the low country, that includes you. Well, what about Waltboro? Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir. Includes you as well. Yeah, but I'm in Myrtle Beach. That includes you. If you're in the low country, you are in the zone for severe weather. Period. End of story. Period. All right? If you're up in Florence, you're in an even heightened area of severe weather, a moderate risk. South Carolina does not see moderate risks. 4 out of 5 risk. That is a 4 out of 5 risk. We do not see that here in South Carolina very often. You get a couple of these a decade, give or take. So that's a big deal. Large hail threat, it's there, but it's going to be isolated. I don't think that's going to be the big story tomorrow. I'd be shocked if there was widespread large hail. I think we'll have a lot of pea-sized hail, maybe dime-sized hail, even some areas of quarter-sized hail, which will kick off a few severe thunderstorm warnings. But I don't think we're going to be seeing stuff they see out in Texas, the grapefruit hail and stuff. We're not going to see that. We just don't have the CAPE. We don't have the convective available potential energy for that. The wind, straight line wind threat is the big deal here. That is the big deal. 60%. That purple is a designation set by the Storm Prediction Center to show how likely severe wind is going to be in a 60% is exceedingly high. That is exceedingly high. In fact, that 60% hatched mark you see there. This is the first time they've issued this since 2012. That is a long time. Not for the state of South Carolina, in the United States. So there is some high confidence from the Storm Prediction Center that a high wind threat, straight line wind threat, is going to be prolific, is the word for it. It is going to be prolific and widespread from the Midlands of South Carolina up through North Carolina. We will have likely widespread damaging winds with these thunderstorms in the low country as well. Maybe not prolific like up in Florence, but we'll have it here. We're going to have some areas report in with that. Tornado threat. It's there. It's not widespread, but it's enough where we need to pay attention. We're going to have rotating thunderstorms tomorrow. Some of them are going to pop tornado warnings. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw several tornado warnings across the low country by the end of the day tomorrow. Maybe even up to half a dozen. So that's something we're going to have to keep an eye on. So, baseline. High wind threat, 60-mile-per-hour winds possible midday Monday. I think it's going to be the peak of this. Low to medium for isolated tornado risk. Tornadic supercells, tornadic thunderstorms, going to be a thing tomorrow. Isolated large hail, not as high on that. It's a threat. You want to put your car in the garage? Certainly a reasonable thing to do. Not going to blame you for it with this forecast. Isolated flood threat. Could have some flooded roads, especially if it hits low-lying areas, poor drainage areas. You're going to get some flooding taking place out of that. Let's go ahead and move the Vipercast forward here. So as we get towards tonight, we are looking at the chance for showers and thunderstorms Sunday night going into early Monday morning towards midnight. So there you go. All right, I got to point this out. See these thunderstorms over here? See where a mouse is? Now, I'm not saying this is where it's going to be or the exact strength, but Vipercast is picking up on the fact that these thunderstorms are going to be hooking. That's sign of rotation. That's 10 o'clock tonight. That is before the main ingredients arrive. So Vipercast is already trying to spin these thunderstorms in the forecast. We should pay attention to that. We got several of these stronger storms offshore. And they lose a little bit of steam, not a lot, but lose a little bit of steam as we get towards midnight into early tomorrow morning. I think by 3, 4, 5 o'clock in the morning, we're clear. We get a little bit of a break. Sunrise, Monday morning, we kick off the process all over again, and we start getting some of these stronger storms by about 8, 9, 10 o'clock. The machine kicks back on. Now you get to about 11 a.m., midday Monday, about noon, and those are some strong thunderstorms going where? Along the shore. But Brant, I thought the high wind risk was way up in Florence. Right? This is why sometimes we have to put the maps away for a second. The pretty little lines, everyone drawing inside the lines kind of stuff. Mother Nature does not follow those lines. Where the ingredients are there, wherever the ingredients are, she's going to take advantage of that. So what's being forecasted and what actually happens, there's going to be a little bit of a difference to it. I'm just letting you know right now. And what we're saying is whether you live in Florence or in Folly Beach, you should be prepared for severe weather tomorrow. Have a plan of action for high winds and tornadic potential. You get to 1, 2 o'clock, that main line comes through. So that's the main line right here. So right now, Vipercast is saying about 2 o'clock. One of the other short-range models says about 4 o'clock. So you see there's already things disagreeing with each other. I'm going to tell you that anytime between 1 and 4 o'clock is when that line of thunderstorms comes through. And by 8, 9, 10 o'clock, we are done. We are done with this system. It's out. We are out. We are done. It's cold. It's dry. And it's the perfect St. Paddy's Day. Because all you need is a coat, and you're good to go. No storms expected. No rain expected. Quick look at the 5-day forecast for areas inland. Bring this up real quick. Weather alert for Monday. You notice that we do have St. Patrick's Day on Tuesday, 52 degrees. It's going to be cold Monday night and Tuesday night, looking at those low to mid-30s. Get to spring. Friday, 73 degrees. Nice first day of spring. So we have good things to look forward to. It's going to be a little chilly, get through the middle portion of the week, and then we're going to be a lot better as we head towards next week. All right, quick look at the islands and beaches forecast for you folks living a little bit closer to shore. Still have a weather alert. Severe weather threat, maybe just a tiny bit less, but not by much. Okay? So have a wait or receive warnings. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and end the stream there. But I want to thank everyone who put in their questions. And if you put in questions on any of the other platforms, maybe you're on YouTube, maybe you're watching on Twitch, we're on all these different platforms right now. If you put questions there, I'm going to go in and I'm going to answer those questions. All right? So give me about 10, 15 minutes. I'll get to those questions. But we really appreciate your time. We appreciate you trusting us with your forecast. We are not here to sensationalize. We are not here, to pull your chain on this. We are concerned about the severe weather potential for tomorrow. This is real deal stuff. This is, we're maximizing what the atmosphere is capable of when you start getting into moderate and sometimes high-risk situations with the severe weather outlook, all right? So the potential is there, and it's good to be prepared, have a plan. That's all you need. There's no reason to panic with this situation. Just have a plan. Have a plan of action. You get a severe thunderstorm warning, this is what I'm going to do. If I get a tornado warning at this location, this is what I'm going to do. Here's my plan of action. A great way is to make sure you have a way to receive severe weather information. We have an app, Storm Team 2 Weather app. We're going to be updating it tonight, tomorrow, and it will automatically post severe thunderstorm warnings and tornado warnings issued by the National Weather Service. Doesn't miss. Really hits on that very well. And you get a lot of alerts and stuff on it. It'll ring it'll ping you if there's rain within 10 miles if you want it to. You can customize what alerts you want and what alerts you don't want. But you get your own personalized radar. You can take it wherever you want. As long as you have service, you have access to weather information, and it's free, and it's run by 4 meteorologists that live and work right here in the Low Country who have a vested interest in seeing you guys safe. All right? All right, we have a quick question. Ryan, any storms or rain in the next few hours here in Hanahan? I want to lay pavers. You can risk it. We might have a few thunderstorms here in the next couple of hours. Not a guarantee. I think a line came through, and it looks like we'll stay dry at least for the next hour. I can give you the next hour. That's about it. After that, it's fair game. We're going to have more thunderstorms coming through. All right? Again, thank you, everyone, for trusting us with your forecast. Storm Team 2 is on top of this, and we'll be posting updates as they come through on counton2.com. And don't forget to check out Kobe Neighbor's forecast tonight at 6 on Meteorologist Brant Beckman.